Yo, what's your dream? What drives you? I just want to buy my mom a house. And you ask a kid that grew up with money, why do you do this? It's just because I love it. And if you don't love it anymore, don't do it. If you don't love it anymore, it's okay. Find something else.
Please welcome Anthony Ramos.
Yo, Scourge.
My name's Anthony Ramos.
Do not allow your emotions drive the car of your life. A person did that to me back then, or they did. Bro, it's not that deep. Stop giving it so much weight.
Anthony, thank you for being here, first of all. Always good to hang and talk and chat.
Yeah.
And I'll get right into it. You know, from the streets of Bushwick to Hollywood, you're now a leading man. You know, your face is now on the posters. You're looking pretty out there. Let's talk about success. What is success to you?
It's being able to like provide a life for yourself that allows you the freedoms to really, and this sounds so vague, but like if you really think about it, it's not. It allows you the freedoms to like truly live. Like, and like you got to figure out what that is for you, right? Like, you know, and I think there's that cliche, right, where people say like more money, more problems, or like it doesn't matter how much money you make, that you'll never achieve true happiness, you know, no matter how much success or no matter how much fame or amount of money you make. I do believe that that's true wholeheartedly, and I believe that like it's about defining what success is. Like, I'm good right now. Like, bro, like this is more than I ever thought I'd have in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to. Like, I'm hungry and I want to be elite at what I do, and I want to be the best at everything I do. But that's only because I love what I do, right? Like, I'm going to be a husband. Okay, I want to be the best husband I can possibly be, right? Because I love my wife. Or like, I'm going to be an actor. I want to be the best actor I can be because I love acting. I'm a musician. I'm a writer. Write songs. I want to be the best musician I can possibly be because I love music. Like, and it's not necessarily because I want to be famous or I want to make millions of dollars. Like, I would love to make money doing what I love. I would love that, you know, but that's not the driving force. It's the ambition. It's the passion for what I'm doing that keeps me motivated. That keeps me like going in spite of all the no's that I get, and it keeps driving me forward, whether I have a high year or I have a low year or I have a kind of in the middle year. Like, you know, because life just does that to us. And, you know, and I think that I'm learning how to like enjoy my life no matter where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? So I think that success is like, learning to be like truly being content, like understanding where you're at in your life in the moment, being realistic about where you're at. Like, oh man, maybe I messed up. I'm going to have to make up a little bit here, or, I'm doing really well right now. I got to continue to maintain to do that or put in the work or whatever it is, you know. So but like, you know, like just being being content, bro. Like, I'm good where I'm at. I'm exactly where I need to be. Yo, man, what did my therapist say to me the other day? It was so fire, bro. Let me look this up real quick. What she said to me, I took it in my notes. She wrote, yeah, she just said, and this is not so profound, but it's just be where your feet are.
Yeah.
If I can do that, bro, I'm successful.
Yeah.
Truly, I think.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of You Versus You. If these conversations are inspiring you and are bringing value to your life, please make sure to subscribe, join the community, and don't forget to share with anyone who you think needs to hear this. Thank you for supporting the show. Now let's get back to our episode. I agree. I say that all the time, right? I think the first step to anything in life is acceptance, right? And being comfortable exactly where you're at, like where nothing has to change in order for yourself to be in a place of joy, in a place of content, in a place of peace. And that's one of the hardest things, I think, in our human condition, because people mistake the passion and the hustle with that being the solution to everything else. And so it's like, if I work harder, that's going to happen. If I hustle harder, I'm going to happen. If I cheat, it's going to happen. If I do this side deal because, I got to get my money up, I got to stack it up. If I do this thing, then all of a sudden, and in my life experience, what I've seen is every time that the value gets put into that, life does the complete opposite. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's not going to happen. Well, that job falls apart. Well, you decided to do that side thing and look, it backfire here. And it's really interesting again, because we just been so conditioned to that being the truth. And I think for me in my life and talking about our industry, you're conditioned from day one to hustle hard, like
Yeah.
push, especially if you started your career in New York, like you and I did. It's like the only thing that you get taught is like
Hustle hard. Yeah.
hustle. You got to
Till
outsmart
you
everybody
can't
else.
anymore.
Yeah, you got to take everybody else. You got to not sleep. And I mean, it took me a long time in my career to get to a place where I'm like, oh my God, I've been lying to myself. Like, and all that, like, we were talking about this the other day. I truly believe that everything we have is a gift. So it's really interesting to hear you talk about that. And now that we're talking about the lows and the highs, what has been the hardest low you had to go through in your career?
You know, the hardest low I think I went through in my career was, I think again, it goes back to the fame thing, or for anybody that's following your career, your life. You know, I had a breakup, and that was that sucked, you know, and that was terrible. And then I was doing what you do, you wilding out. You know, we didn't make like a public announcement about the breakup or nothing or whatever, but you know, I was outside. Somebody saw me outside, super outside. You know what I'm saying?
You were out
And
here.
outside.
Yeah.
And then you know, I got caught up in a whole mecla, bro, in a whole, you know, scandal or what have you. And, you know, I dealt with that for a little while. And the biggest thing that I learned from that moment, I mean, it was very depressing. I think number one, because I was going through this really personal thing at the time. On top of that, now I'm dealing with ridicule from strangers and people I don't even know. And then on top of that, like, you know, I got brand deals, I got things going on, and they looking and they like, hold up, his likes is going down.
Mm.
He's losing followers. They don't give a fuck about what's happening in your personal life. All they looking at is the numbers. If it ain't making dollars, it ain't making sense. 1 + 1 =. They like, wait, he used to get 100,000 likes, now he only getting this one? Nah, hold up. His value is going down. Hold up, maybe we don't need him. You know, like, and all these things go through my, all of that is going through my head, because I'm like, damn, you know, the Lord has blessed me to be a help, right, in my family. The Lord has blessed me to be, you know, God has given me an opportunity to, you know, help, right, where I can in my family. And the first thing I thought about was like, yo, was like, damn, was them really? Even more than me, like, yo, shit, like this could affect them.
Mm.
And then again, it made me think like fuck, bro, like you should have made better decisions, or you should have. I don't know how I would have handled that now. You know what I'm saying? I definitely would have been more methodical. I think I definitely would have been probably more responsible as well. But I'm also just not even in that headspace that I was in back when that happened. But you know, by the grace of God, you know, I feel like I'm, you know, I went through that valley and I came out. And I'm grateful to be standing, and I'm grateful to be like, wow, like I'm really happy that happened to me, and I learned from it, you know, God willing. And I'm like, and I can hopefully maybe even help somebody, you know, in the future, right? Because of what I went through. But I mean, dude, like in my career, bro, like, you know, got signed by a label, got dropped by a label. And again, I didn't even feel like that was the thing I just expressed to you before was more of a, felt like more of a hit to me, really. And I think it was because really my family in my mind, in the back of my mind, was deeply involved in that one. Like getting signed by a label and dropped by a label, bro, that's nothing. Like, I'm just like, whatever, that ain't work out. Like, we gonna find the right partner for the right thing, you know, I'm not gonna stop making music because that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna get discouraged and down on myself. You know, oh, because I got recast in a movie, well, so I'm gonna stop making movies? I'm just gonna quit? Nah. But these are just different moments where I had to analyze. Another thing that I will say, right, when it came to that moment that I talked about, now, you know, people are coming at me on social media and whatnot, right? I had so much of that shit was so embedded in my identity. If I didn't get a certain amount of likes, or I didn't get a certain amount of comments, or if I didn't get post a certain kind of photo, or if I didn't look a certain kind of way in the photo, or like, it affected me deeply, bro. If I got one negative comment, but there was like 100 positive ones, but the one negative one, bro, I'm zooming in on that shit. I'm going like this, and I'm looking at every word. I'm dissecting. I'm like, man, like, dang, why are they saying this about me? Like, F that person, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, why do you care so much about this? why is this affecting you so deeply, bro? Like, and yeah, what if it all does come crashing down? What happens then? What? If it all comes crashing down and you're still alive, what you gonna do? What you gonna you fucking sit in the corner and cry for the rest of your life and you're gonna quit at life? Nah. Get up. Like I had to talk to myself like that, bro.
What was the breaking point for that, right? So like you're struggling with it, and what was the moment of like realization where you were like, I have the wrong narrative. I need to change this narrative to who cares? Was there like a certain moment through that process that you can identify and say, here's where I had to face myself, and that helped me transition to a different mindset and a different narrative in my head that said, who cares? Move on.
I booked Ironheart, right? So I did this Marvel TV series. I played, and ironically, I was playing the villain in that show. So it was like, felt like the villain in my personal life. And then now I book my first role after this big life thing happens to me, and it's the villain in this like TV series. And I never played a villain in my whole career. So it was kind of hilarious like that was happening to me at the same time. But it was more like, bro, it's not over. Get up. Here's an opportunity in front of you. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and work as hard as you can at this part and in this role. Take this opportunity. And I feel like once I got that opportunity, man, with Marvel, it was just like, it was almost like God showing off. Like, bro, like, especially like the thing, and like him talking to me, like, Ant, if this was his voice in my head, this is what it felt like or sound like, Ant, like if you think what you're going through is so massive, I want you to understand that you are so small in the world that I have put you in. You are but a blip, bruh. What seems so big to you is nothing to me. And look, boom, look at this. Now what you gonna do with that? You're gonna stay stuck on the little thing? It's not little, right? Like I don't want you to treat things that you have frivolously and people. However, here's another opportunity. Here's a chance for you to do something. Here, do something with that. Let's see what you do with that. And then there came another thing. And then came another thing, right? But it was like, yo, and then I'm going on the press tour for Transformers. In the career, right? In my career, it was like, it wasn't over.
Yeah.
On the contrary, it was getting better. But it was also like, I don't think it could have gotten better if I hadn't have let go of that thing that was holding me, which was like, do they like me?
Yeah.
Like, will they like me? But will they, not only will they like me, will they love me? Like, and just needing to let that go.
Let's get into that a bit, right? Because you said a lot of interesting things. And I think the takeaway, and it's something we talk about on the show a lot, is watching our narratives, right? Like we talk so much to ourselves in an unkind way, and we take our life experiences and we create the story behind this life experience. So we create but everybody hates that, and we'll zoom into it, and because we're filtering that information through our trauma, right?
Right.
And I think I've heard you talk about this a couple of times, and obviously you just touched on it, the not feeling good enough, right?
Yeah.
Not feeling like you're capable to have the blessing that God has given you, even though the exterior is showing something different. The exterior is showing, I'm a monster. I'm the best executive. I'm the
beast.
best. I'm
Look
a
at me.
beast. Yeah, I can go up and get every role, and look at me at the cover of Twister and this and promo, and the inside saying, yeah, but you're not good enough. But you're not good enough. But you're not good. And I can relate to that because I think it's the story of my life and career as well. And I truly believe it's been the biggest chains that we hold and that hold those lock is that internal feeling of, am I enough?
Mm.
Do you remember the first time as a kid feeling that?
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Before I answer that question, sometimes we mistake the behavior, the I'm not good enough behavior with no, it's just because I love you, or it's because I love this behavior, right? Sometimes we think that they're synonymous with one another, right? So we do things because we don't feel good enough, but we're like, and then we take the love and we put it in there and we say, no, but look how much I love you, but look how much I love this. But look how much I love my career. Look how much I love my wife. Or look how much I love my kids. Look at what I'm doing for them. Look at what I do for you. And we think that they go together,
Yeah.
but they don't. And a person can feel when you do something out of love and when you're doing something out of you just not feeling good enough or feeling like you are good enough. And then it especially is evident when you're doing it to someone or for someone that loves you exactly how you are and accepts you exactly how you are.
It always says, my spiritual leader who I work with all the time said to me, Lex, you're a giver. The question is, why are you giving?
Wow. Why?
And he said, no one needs saving, so why are you giving? It's like, are you giving because you need to feel worthy? Because it gives you the understanding that people are like, oh man, Lex is so nice. He's such a good
Wow.
guy.
Yeah.
He's so great. But then the moment that love doesn't get returned, you're like, damn, dog, this person didn't even call me like for my birthday.
Right.
Also, wait, you were giving it for the admiration. You were giving it for the thing. The moment you don't feel good, that same giving goes away. The same giving now is like, yo, look what I'll do for you. You know, it's what you were saying. And he said,
I've had that problem my whole life.
yeah.
Bro.
So he said, but it goes back to that filter of like not feeling good and having to have the savior complex. And one of the things that has stuck to me, I would say, since he told it to me, is no one needs saving.
Mm.
And sometimes we relate this idea of having to be kind or be a certain way. Like you said, oh, you know, somebody got sick and you're like, oh, well, I have to text them. Like, I got to do that.
Mm.
And the question is, do you really?
Right.
Like, who told you that you have to? Now, do you want to? And you have to is a two different roles.
That's good. That's real good.
And that idea of that separation is when you check your filter and you're like, whoa.
I remember one time I was in 7th grade, right? And I was already friends with some of these kids. And I don't know what compelled me, right? There was a girl, and I'm so sorry to this girl. I think her name was Jennifer or something like that. And I basically I started cracking jokes on Jennifer, right? In the class. I said some wild shit to her. And it was only because I wanted to be. And then those guys that were there, they start laughing at my jokes, and I see them laughing at the jokes. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good. I feel safe. I feel good enough.
Mm.
So at the expense of her feelings,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's okay. Never mind her feelings. As long as I can just feel safe in here and good enough. As long as I can feel like I have allies, here's how I'm going to get them. And it's a wild way of thinking, bro.
I want to touch on that because so many people can identify to that, right? There's so many people like us who on a daily basis do that in one way or the other. We do it with our loved ones. We do it with girlfriends. You do it with your wife. You do it with your friends, which is, it's a lot easier to judge.
Sure.
Because the judgment on that gives you this sense of like, oh, it's not me, it's them.
Right.
You know? But it's this whole thing is really in the concept of you versus you is that all this is a narrative that is intended to allow you to start looking inward, right? Like this false sense of responsibility with our parents and with other people, the idea that we need to save people in order to feel valued, the idea that we're not valued yet, so we search our whole lives for value in career, in love, in success. So we approach every single one of those things with the idea, and I love the example you gave of like rich and not, of this idea that the reality is we're all rich inside.
I think so,
The
yeah.
truth identity is we're all rich inside, but our trauma and our stories have us thinking like we're poor inside, and our circumstances, right? So, but that mental thought of going into a situation and saying the success is me loving something and doing it passionately, and if regardless of what the outcome is. And I was having a conversation the other day with a really wealthy person who she just had a baby. And she was stressing a little bit because she's like, oh my God, you know, I'm so worried about like what school is he gonna go to, what this, how are we gonna handle it? And I asked her the question, I said, is any of that going to guarantee that your son turns out okay? She paused and I said, I asked because I'm starting to understand that the only way to be a great father to my daughter It's just to better me, not to better her circumstances, right? Not to better, like, we have this idea that, okay, I've done so well, so I want my daughter to have a better school. The truth is, you and I didn't go to the best school. In a lot of people's eyes, we're considered very successful. But the things that we are not successful, the things that we struggle with, the trauma that came from our life experience, from our parents teaching us things that maybe, their parents taught, so they were carrying that trauma. The best way to help my daughter be the best version of herself is to become the best version of myself. So that when she comes and something happens, instead of me trying to go crazy on her, I'm like, hey, I don't actually know, but we'll figure it out together. The way that I intake her behavior is not, let me go punish her and she has to do exactly what I said and you better get an A school, but it's actually just school. Do you love it? Do you want to learn that? How do I push you and give you discipline, but with the understanding that the truth is, I'm a college dropout.
Right. Right.
Right? And I've made more money than my whole family. And it took me so many years to get to that place because I felt like you unworthy. I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like I must not be enough because look at my life situation, because my father's not home. And that leads me back to the original question, which is, can you identify that first time when that feeling of not enough came into your life?
I mean, and look, God rest my father's soul, man. I love him. But, my dad passed away 2 years ago, but when my father was alive, like when we was kids, bro, like he was tough, man. Like, and he didn't live with us or anything, and he dealt with addiction in a severe way. I mean, all the way to the end of his life. But very often we didn't feel safe around him, and when he would come around, and I felt, especially growing up when I was a kid, I felt like I couldn't defend my mom. I couldn't do anything, and I felt scared of my father, and I felt like I moved out of my mom's house when I was 13. I moved back in when I was 17. I lived with my aunt for a little bit and I came back when I was 17, but then I left when I was, 18, 17, 18 years old. And I think that there was a part of me that felt bad. Like I couldn't defend my mom. Like number one, felt like I was too young or too like little, but I was also really afraid of him. And then I just wasn't around, right? I wasn't around at all. And then that was one of the ways that I didn't feel good enough, right? Like, and I also was like, am I not good enough that he can't be around? I'm not even asking him for shit. Like, I'm not even asking you, because then it got to the place where I'm an adult now, and I'm like, I don't even need money from you, bro. I'm just asking for you to be around, bro. I'm just asking. I just want you to just be around. That's all you have to do. You don't even need to talk, bro. And it just felt like even that was difficult sometimes. From when I was really little all the way till now, man. There were a lot of elements of me not feeling good enough when it came to my father, and then my mom, and not feeling like I could do enough for her when it came to him, or help her enough. And so, yeah, man, that made me feel bad. But yeah, man, I remember this one crazy ass story. I remember one time my pops pulled a knife out of my mom outside the building, and I got between them both, her and him. And I was like, stop, like I didn't know if he was gonna stab her or not, or what he was trying, and that was like a heroic moment for me. I wasn't gonna be able to defend her from him. But that shit was mad traumatic, bro. Like things like just memories like that come up, and I just was like, damn, I just like there was nothing we could do to protect her. And also like him, like, right, like we tried to help him, when we got older, we're like, Dad, you don't need to do this, or Pops, there's another way, or here's how, we could help you. And then it felt like, nothing was gonna work, and we were just gonna have to ride it out until he died. And it was just like, damn, like it felt like, damn, are your kids? Are we not enough?
Have you had a moment to sit and forgive him?
I think so. But sometimes I gotta ask myself, like, have I really? Because sometimes I be making some crazy ass jokes about my dad, or like him dying and shit. And I'm like, no, that's not funny. I mean, sometimes it's funny, like in the moment. And I usually do it with my friends who also have parents who are dead. We call it like the dead dad club or dead parent club. If you're not laughing about it, you're crying about it. And sometimes, it's cool to have somebody to laugh, like I love one of Kevin Hart's titles, Laugh at My Pain,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes I really do, like, I think we grew up laughing at our pain, really. Like, we laughed a lot in our home. That is one thing. And even with Pops, like, Dad was funny, man. Like, he used to come and dude used to crack jokes, bro. Like, he was funny as shit, bro. Like, and that was the thing. Like, the one thing I could say about him was that, like, it didn't matter what we was going through, what kind of friction. Like, Pops always had a joke, though. Or he had something funny to say. Or he'd say something that even if we was beefing, he would say something and be like, damn, that was fucking hilarious. Like, and then we'd laugh and then, and move on from there. But like, I think I've forgiven him. I'm pretty sure I've forgiven him. But if I have to say I'm pretty sure, then maybe not. But
If you have to visualize right now that inner child, right? That Anthony that was there at that moment when times were not good, when your father was not, when you didn't feel good enough, when all these things that have created traumatic experiences in your life had to have worked through that. As you sit back now as an adult, if you could say one thing to that inner child, what would it be?
what you're going through right now is not forever. So, like that quote said that Donna, told me the other day, that it hit me so hard again. It was just like, be where your feet are. Just be where you're at. Feel what you're feeling with the understanding that this will not be forever, though. I know it feels like this is a thing that will last forever. There's a feeling that will last forever, but it's not. Because even if someone else doesn't change, or even if a circumstance doesn't change, the way you think about it can. So just feel what you're feeling right now. Try to understand what you're feeling. Even if you don't understand it, just try. Ask yourself the questions and don't be afraid to ask yourself dumb questions, and other people too, right? Other people that maybe have more life experience, or people you trust that have given you good counsel. But all that to say is, I would tell that kid, like, yo, like, everything's going to be all right. And this won't last forever, but it's okay. How you feel is perfectly fine. You're not crazy for feeling how you feel. You're not stupid for feeling how you feel. And it's all right. Like, accept how you feel. Again, with the understanding, knowing this won't last forever, right? So feel this today, and then tomorrow we start figuring out how we're going to move forward from what happened to you today, or from what you're feeling today.
It's a beautiful thing. It's like your brain doesn't know the difference between something that's false and something that's real, or something that's a reality, or something that's imagination. It just intakes what you say. So as you get to have that moment with yourself, that inner child, which is really those memories and that trauma that's sitting inside of you still, your brain has the ability, and your subconscious has the ability to hear that and start releasing that energy that keeps us today as an adult living the trauma of our inner child. Because that's what it is. We're living these experiences, and we hold these moments of memory, like your father taking out the knife, or sleeping at a friend's house and not feeling like not good enough. It holds those memories as is to place and give certainty to the emotion that the child felt. So it gives it the stamp of like, no, it's okay. It's okay that you feel not good enough, because look what you went through.
Mm.
What I found in my own work has been that the inner child, which is those memories and those thoughts of our life experience, is just sitting there with the ears open,
Mm.
just waiting, you know? But we create patterns in our lives. And part of the pattern is that we repeat our hurt. We get in our mind and we continue to have the conversation of like, nah, man, but it's because he was like that, so I'm like that,
Yeah.
And, you know, and you kind of go through that pattern. It's like, oh, she's acting like that, but she reminds me of that. So that's why I'm going to act like that, because she ain't
Right.
right.
Right. Or
Uh,
or she reminds me of that kind of person, or they remind me of that. That's
mhm.
why I am the way I am. I don't trust people like that, or I don't trust a person like that. I can't open my mind up to that because, when I did that last time, this is what happened to me,
And it's
kind of thing.
literally the inner child and your mind just open and saying, okay, we're going to stay here. We're going to continue to hold.
Right.
We're going to continue to hold the same feeling and the same emotion and the same trauma. And we're going to just hold it because that's what he generally wants us to do. If not, why would he be saying it?
Yeah.
And I found that the more that I speak and the more that I can identify these patterns in my life, I can reframe those patterns in order to start digesting my life experience in a different way and speaking to that kid and healing him and telling him, hey, you're okay. Your mom and your dad made decisions in their life. Your mom had to go, and this pain that you have against your dad had an impossible decision. He could have told your mom, no, you're not taking my kid to the US.
Mm.
And where would you be today? Or he could have said, as much as it pains me, I know there's not a life for him here. And if I think my son is great, I got to send him where there's opportunity, knowing that he was not going to see you for many years.
Mm.
And just that reframing of like, I started to uncover things about those moments that I had completely forgotten. Like the moment I found out the lady was pregnant, I remember jumping in the back of the truck, crying hysterically all the way back to the house. And then my dad asking everybody to leave the car. For years, I didn't remember the words he said. Now, as I was doing my work, I remember the words he said.
Mm.
And the words he said is, you will never be replaced.
Mm.
I am your father. And he cried. My dad never cries. And he cried. And I remember that by healing. And I was like, wow, I perceived that moment so different
Mm.
because I was so contracted in my emotion that I just didn't. And for such a long time, I processed it in one way. But allowing to go back and telling that child, he's okay. That actually everything's going to be okay. And that this experience that he's going through is not going to last. But while it's there, feel everything about it and
Yeah.
take in, because there is those moments and there is that inspiration and there's that creativity and there is that hustle and there's that experience that today makes Anthony Ramos a successful actor. What it is that we tend to continue the same habits, belief, and emotional experience that we've always had. So we talk to ourselves in the same way. We kind of process information in the same way. And as I started to work on this process myself, I found that these were keys in order to start rewiring my brain to think differently. And the first one was awareness, because you can't change something that you don't notice. So is being aware of how I frame my conversations, how I speak about myself or how I speak about my father or how I perceive the situation. So I could be like, wait, is that reality or is that it? Can I look at that experience and see him or her with compassion?
Mm-hmm.
Second was understanding the origin. So why am I saying this to myself? Like, why do I say, but that's just the way I am? You know how many times I've used that in a relationship conversation? Where like,
Oh man.
but that's the way it is. You don't have to love me the way I am.
Bruh.
You know what I mean?
That's a one-way ticket to a breakup, my G.
Oh, but that's the way I am, Naming the pattern. Giving it a name allows me to put it. So whenever I'm processing something through a trauma that I know I have, I say, that's my inner child talking. And I pause and I try to really think about, why is he talking to himself that way? Why am I saying that to myself? And completely put the child in front of me, or put my mother in front of me, put my father in front of me, put my fear in front of me. I read this book called The Uncharted Journey, and you'll relate to this because you're an actor. And he said, your life experience is just a role.
Mm.
Can you start looking at it as the watcher? So meaning you're an actor, right? You could go play the guy in Twister or any of the roles you've done, the hero in Transformers, and you do your whatever, 3 months of filming, and then you get out and you're not that guy anymore. You're not dressed the same way. You're not talking the same way. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not experiencing, you're not all of a sudden living in the jungle waiting for a Transformer to pop out.
Right.
Like life is the exact same way. It's a role. And when you look at it as the washer, you can start rewriting that script because you can start visualizing your life experience as like, oh, wait, that's actually my inner child. That's not her, or that's not my father, or that's not my brother who did that. That's my inner child being triggered. And then I'm not even looking at that person with compassion. I'm just ready to judge them because I need to stamp my feelings as right. So I named that interrupting the pattern. So one of the things that has really helped me in is like as soon as I identify the pattern, I try to stop. So I legit repeat to myself, stop, stop, stop.
While you're doing the thing.
While I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
In order to pause and reassess. And mind you, there's days that I don't stop and I'm in my full emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But the more that I like going to the gym or anything else or acting or learning shit, the more that I've done the repetition, the more that it's helped me be. And then I rewrite the narrative. He wasn't bad. He was just hurting.
Yeah.
He was just trying to figure it out, just like I am. He did the best he could with his own internal battles that I have no idea what they were. Because his life experience also has his own story. And his father had his own story. And his grandfather had a story. And he, just like I am, has carried the weight of his father, his grandfather, his ancestors. And now I carry his weight, the weight of my grandfather, the weight of my great-grandfather.
Mm.
So can I change the way that I speak about him? Because now I just see him as someone who's hurting.
Wow. Can I change the way I speak about him? It's crazy.
In that way, how do we change the way that we speak to ourselves? And that leads me to the question that we always end the podcast with. I think as a songwriter, as an actor, as a creative, you understand the power of words. I had the pleasure of going to your home and hearing this incredible project that you're working on. What I love about this project, and I don't know how much I could say or not, so I won't get too deep into what the project is, but I was telling you before we started how impacted I was by the choice of words and melody and things that you did in order to build this character. The characters stand for something. They stand for these words. And as we've talked, the whole conversation, we speak to ourselves in an unkind way. Oh, but I'm not good enough. We look and we zoom in at the negative comments. We have this conversation. We pick on all the things that are triggers, because when we are triggered, we go to the foundation. And the truth is that for most of us, that foundation is pain, hurt, trauma. And it's just like, we need that. So understanding the power of words, understanding that your mind doesn't know the difference, that the inner child in you can listen. What is one word or a phrase that Anthony Ramos, that little Anthony, need to hear today that can change how you perceive your life, how you perceive the rest of this day, and how you perceive the rest of your week?
That's crazy. I mean, the phrase, again, and I keep bringing it back. I keep bringing it back to this one, but be where your feet are that just hit me so hard this week, man. Because I'm just not, I think I've not been great at that just in general in my life, like worrying about what's next all the time. Why wouldn't I, right? Because the first question anybody asks you, especially when you're an artist, so what's next? But I think it's like, be where your feet are. And a mentor of mine said this to me so good, man. I've been just shout out to ET, man. He said, do not allow your emotions to be the driver of your decisions. Don't let your emotions drive the car of your life. Keep it set in your morals. I think we talked about this at breakfast, but he said your emotions are good. They're a good co-pilot. They'll help you understand where you at, what you feeling, but don't allow them to be the driver of your decisions. And I was like, man, man. I've been quoting that, and I've been thinking about that for months now since he told me, because I do feel like I have led with my emotions so many times in my life, especially in things I've said or ways I've reacted to certain things or to people and yeah, man, that hit me so hard. I don't have one word, but maybe 4 words. Like, it's not that deep. It's just not. Like, yo, stop taking it personal. Everything, taking everything so personal all the time, or that person said this like this, or that person did that to me back then, or they did. Bro, it's not that deep. It's not. Like, you good today? Like, bruh, you good, you fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's not that deep. Stop giving it so much weight.
Can you say that to yourself?
Yeah, and it's not that deep. It's not. It's just not.
It's interesting when we say things externally as we communicate them to someone, and when we actually pause and say it, automatically your whole facial expression changed.
Yeah, I guess I got nervous to say it to myself just now, which was kind of crazy.
Love that, bro. Thank you guys for tuning in to You Versus You. Please subscribe, like, and share as we build this community and we help each other to live the life of our dreams.